Hello, everybody. Thank you for listening or watching to another episode of the Football Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Pipkin, and I'm joined as ever by my co-host, Tom Walker.
Hey guys, thanks for taking the time to tune in today, new and old listeners and viewers. Tom, we said every week for the last few weeks it's crunch time, but it really is crunch time in the Championship and League Two this weekend because it's final day.
It is final day. So we had all the drama last week of the League One final day, which was amazing. And then we've got double dose this weekend, so Champ and League Two. So on the pod today, we're going to cover the Premier League as ever. Then we've got the Championship games and the League Two games. So the Championship games all kick off on Saturday at 12:30, and the League Two games all kick off on Saturday at 3 o'clock. So each league gets its little time in the sun. Looking forward to this show. Worth saying that we are sponsored as ever still by our good friends at Matchbook, and you can still use the sign-up code TFB Podcast during the registration stage of the Matchbook sign-up and get yourself a £30 money back as free bet offer. So please do check that out. We'll talk about that a bit later in the show in more detail. And just touched on the treble from last week as well, Tom. Lost by one team agonisingly. We'll cover that in more detail again later in the show, but that was a real tough one to take.
Yeah, it was. It was worth adding as well. We are aware that it is playoff season. We already had our first playoff game. We will be covering the playoffs, but on social media only. More details to follow towards the end of the show.
Yeah. So without any further ado, then we'll dive straight into the Premier League, shall we? 4 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Prem. No early lunchtime Prem kickoff this week on Saturday because of all the Championship games that are going off. Brentford Southampton is the first one we'll look at. 2.26 for Brentford, 3.6 for the draw, and 3.5 for Southampton. Any strong fancies either way for you here?
I think that's the key word, strong fancy. Strong fancy is no. Some people are starting to talk about Southampton and Brentford and Villa, who are all on 40 points, still being involved in this relegation battle. I don't see it myself, to be honest. It's, 8 points from Everton. But Everton do have, 2 games in hand on 2 of those teams. Really weird one as well, this game. I'm not quite sure. I think if I'd stick my neck out, I'd go Brentford. But your words there of strong tip really put me off saying anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Burnley against Villa then is the next one. It's a big one. 3.15 for Burnley. They're actually the outsiders for this one. Villa the favourites at 2.54 and the draw is available at 3.4. I was quite surprised to see Burnley, the home side, the outsiders, at over 2-1 here, considering the form they're in. Won 3 in a row since Mike Jackson took over, no losses in 4. So, they're in really good form. They look revitalised, amazingly, since Dyche was sacked. So, yeah, I certainly won't bet against them in this game. I'm either looking Burnley on the nose, or if you want a bit more safety, Burnley on the double chance. So, Burnley or draw at 1.63.
Yeah, Burnley for me. Really worried about Villa and how they're ending the season. Sure, they won their last game out against Norwich. Norwich essentially a championship side, having confirmed relegation. Previous win was away at Leeds. Leeds already had their issues. And then a win against Southampton. But apart from that, it's been pretty grim. 4 defeats in a row before a draw and a win. 1 win in their last 6. I'm really worried about how Villa are going about the end of the season. They seem to have, completely stopped all the good stuff under Gerrard. I think this is a great opportunity for Burnley. Great opportunity. And I'd be backing them, same as you, mate, on the nose and maybe double chance if we wanted to be a bit more careful.
Yeah, I agree. Chelsea Wolves then up next. 1.37 for Chelsea, 5.4 for the draw, and 11.0 for Wolves. Wolves really ending the season on just a bit of a bleh, aren't they? 4 losses in the last 5 Premier League games, including the last 3 in a row. no goals in the last 3 consecutive games either. So even though Chelsea aren't in the greatest of form, I don't expect, from what we've seen from Wolves, over the last few weeks, I don't think they'll get anything at Stamford Bridge this weekend.
Yeah, one to avoid, I think, just terms of the price and the risk involved. But yeah, Chelsea not firing on all cylinders, but a similar assignment against West Ham in their last home game. They won that 1-0. Similar assignment in the FA Cup as well when they beat Palace 2-0. Obviously they've lost some games along the way. The Everton result sticks out, but also draws against United, a loss against Arsenal, losses against Real Madrid when they're playing higher quality teams. That's when they seem to be coming unstuck. And like I said, that Everton result aside, they still look like they're capable of beating the lesser teams, but not really worth the risk, I don't think, at that price.
No. Finally then for 3 o'clock, Palace against Watford. Palace available at 1.71. The draw is 4.0 and Watford are 5.9. Watford not yet mathematically confirmed as down, but pretty much as good as. This weekend will surely seal it unless they get a win against Palace and other results go their way as well. But no, 5 losses in a row for Watford, 7 in the last 8, conceded at least 2 in each of those 5 losses. It's just going down with a whimper, really. The teams they played, Burnley winning, as we saw last weekend, until late in the day, then shipped 2 goals late on to a relegation rival. What does that show you about the fight to stay up? It's not good. They've lost to Leeds recently as well, 3-0, Brentford 2-1. Hodgson said he's leaving at the end of the season. It's always dwindling down into just a bad season, isn't it? All in all.
Yeah, it's just inevitable. The whole thing is just inevitable. That's how I'd sum it up. And
Yeah.
I'm very, very, very hot on Crystal Palace this weekend. You're looking at a team bottom of the form table with 3 points out of 8 games for Watford. And you're looking at Palace, who have got 12 points in those 8 games. They've got more points, the same points, as Arsenal, more points than Manchester United, more points than Leicester, West Ham, Wolves, Southampton. A lot of teams. And they've played really well at times. There have been the occasional result that for sure puts me off. But also there's a bedrock to kind of go on from here. They've got the 7th best defence in the league, Palace. They've been really strong all season. At home, it's a mixed bag. It's smack bang in the middle of the table. So maybe we'd want them to be a little bit stronger at home. But this is also, based on how bad Watford have been. Tom, you summarised it perfectly. They're as good as gone. They're only a point ahead of Norwich, who, everyone talks about being, an absolute lost cause. And I fully expect Palace to get a win. Also, it's worth noting Ebereeze back, one of my favourite players in the league. I think he can use these last couple of games to almost as a competitive pre-season and a springboard for next season. So, watch out for Eze's impression on this game.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Brighton Man U up next then. This is a 5:30 kickoff. 2.92 for Brighton, 3.55 for the draw, and 2.6 for Manchester United. They're the favourites. I was looking at this game, and it's quite a tough one, I think, on the face of it. You've got not a particularly great away side in Manchester United. They've won just 2 of their last 5 away games. Brighton haven't won at home since they beat Brentford in December. So their home record is really poor, despite the fact that we've seen them go away to Arsenal, to Spurs, to Wolves in recent weeks and get results there. So away form, tick, great. At home, not so much. Man U have won the last 7 consecutive meetings between the two sides as well. So all in all, I was looking at that and I was swaying towards the Manchester United side, but it's not a very strong sway, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm just going to go down the route of both teams to score. I think 1.76. I've been impressed with Brighton. I think I described them as bookends last week. Good start, terrible in the middle, and then good end, to the season. Man United, we've spoke numerous times about their defensive record. They got a worse defensive record than Aston Villa, Burnley, Brighton, Crystal Palace, and then obviously all the teams you'd expect. Your Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City, etc. So fully expecting both teams to score here, and I'm not ready to start picking who's going to win this match. I'll be honest with you, Tom, but both teams to score for me 1.76 with Matchbook.
Okay, and finally for Saturday, Liverpool against Spurs. Liverpool priced at 1.47. The draw is 5.2 and Tottenham are 7.4 to get the victory here. We've seen in midweek, Liverpool overcome Villarreal. They're into the Champions League final. The quadruple is well and truly on. A chance to crank up the pressure on Manchester City a little bit more as well, because if they win this game, they'll overtake them in the league with City still to play their game on Sunday. Something I was looking at here, only once in the last 9 meetings between the two sides have Liverpool failed to score at least 2 goals. So it's a good stat. Historically, Liverpool done pretty well in this fixture. And it would surprise me if they didn't get another win again. Just the form they're on, isn't it? It's so good. They just look unstoppable now.
Yeah, best team in the world at the moment. I think we have to say, after Man City's collapse against Real Madrid, I think we have to give that to Liverpool. They haven't lost at home all season. Obviously, this is one of the, if not the biggest test that they've got left. I think they're going to play United at home. But yeah, I would say that Tottenham is a more difficult game. I definitely think Spurs need to be respected going forward. So, with Son, I think he's I don't know if Son's ever under the radar that much, but I don't think he's getting as much coverage and praise for his exploits at the moment than he deserves. I'm going to back Liverpool in yes. So that's Liverpool to win the game and both teams to score, which is 2.94 with Matchbook. So I think that would be my tip. And on the subject of Liverpool, just want to bring your attention to Matchbook's best industry price for the Liverpool quadruple. So that's the Premier League, the EFL Cup, which obviously they've already got in the bag, the FA Cup and the Champions League. So Liverpool to sweep all 4 trophies. It is the best industry price at 7.6. You can use your sign-up offer on that bet, no problem. So the TFB podcast code is going to get you a money back as a free bet sign-up offer. So if you deposit some money into there, 30 quid, for example, you lose that bet, you will be able to reinvest something as a free bet, and that money won't go to waste. So if you wanted to put 30 on this with Matchbook, it's going to return £198 profit. So yeah, best industry price, 7.6 of Matchbook for the Liverpool quadruple and 2.94 for them to win and both teams to score this weekend.
Yep, I like it. Right, rolling into Sunday then. Arsenal versus Leeds kicks us off. The Gunners are 1.48. The draw is 5.1 and 7.4 is the price for Leeds. I'm starting to worry about Leeds, mate. I'm really starting to worry.
Yeah.
You got a tough end to the season, tough remaining fixtures, including this one against Arsenal. You look at Leeds' form, and to be fair to them, it's not that bad. In the last 6 games, they've won 3, drawn 2, and lost 1. And that loss was against Manchester City. But I feel like with the teams below them, like Burnley and Everton, starting to pick up points recently, it's really sucking them in. They're really having to start to look over their shoulder now. And with their running, I worry about them. I don't think they'll get a result away at the Emirates, considering the form that Arsenal are in. We've seen them beat Chelsea, Man U, and West Ham United now consecutively. So they're really ending the season strong in their push for that 4th spot and getting in the Champions League. It would be a surprise if Arsenal didn't win this game. I think with Leeds being still fairly flaky at the back, it surprised me if Arsenal didn't score at least 2. Can I see Leeds scoring 2 at the moment past Arsenal? Probably not.
I agree. I'll be honest with you, I don't have a lot more to add there. You've pretty much read my entire note sheet on this game. Yeah, Arsenal for me, a comfortable home win.
Leicester Everton then 2.64 for Leicester, 3.4 for the draw, 2.94 for Everton. We're recording on the Thursday night. We've seen Leicester have just been knocked out of the Europa Conference League away at Roma. So semi-final heartbreak for them there. And pretty much season over, you'd say. Not really anything to play for in terms of the Premier League other than the final placements, a position or two here or there. Do you reckon that's going to play into Everton's hands?
Well, they need to, because I got two stats for you that are absolutely going to blow your socks off, to be honest with you. So their last away win, Everton, in the Premier League was in August, and their last point in the Premier League was December. That's on the road, all on the road. So sure, yeah, the narrative in terms of what Leicester have gone through and the kind of, the disappointment, the heartbreak, season's over, what's the point, all that kind of stuff. Sure, that's going to help Everton, but I'm not in a position to be backing a team that hasn't won away from home since August. Can it happen? Yes.
Well, I will back them to get at least a point. I think draw or
Okay.
Everton on the double chance,
Yeah.
1.57. I think we've seen in recent games from Everton against Liverpool and Chelsea, they've started to be a bit more gritty, tough to beat. They need Richarlison to be on form. He's really their talisman right now. He's going to be the one who picks this team up by the scruff of the neck and drags them to safety if anyone's going to do it, I think. So, yeah, I could see them getting a draw out of this, maybe a win if they're lucky.
I could see them maybe getting a draw, but do you understand my situation? Yeah, I've seen improvements, but yeah, like when I hear those stats, I know it's a different manager and everything, but it's the same group of players, and clearly there's something they don't fancy away from home. So I'm a bit unsure, but I respect your double chance.
Norwich against West Ham then. Norwich 4.6 for the win, 3.85 for the draw, and the Hammers 1.86. So similar to Leicester, we've seen West Ham go out in the Europa League to Eintracht Frankfurt on Thursday night. So yeah, disappointment there in the semi-final for them. What is it with Aaron Cresswell getting these red cards in the Europa League? Like some kind of saboteur.
Yeah, I don't know. Must have had a bet on. Actually, I shouldn't say that before he gets investigated and and gets in big trouble.
Anything from this particular game? Do you think West Ham have got enough about them to bounce back?
Yeah, I do. So West Ham lost 4 in a row and no wins in 5, but I'm going to back them to beat Norwich. When you have a look at the games here, so the West Ham Burnley game, obviously that was Mike Jackson's first game, I think. Maybe first game. One of them anyway. They got a draw. West Ham pretty unlucky in that game. They lost to Chelsea. No disrespect there. I don't think Chelsea's still a good team, as we mentioned. Lost against Frankfurt. That was disappointing, but now we're looking at a European finalist here. We've got to put some respect on Frankfurt's name. Lost to Arsenal. Arsenal been really impressive. We've been talking about how much we like Arsenal. And then Frankfurt again. So those standard of teams, Burnley aside, absolutely miles ahead of what Norwich have to offer. Norwich, last home game, lost 3-0 at home to Newcastle. Another team who they're playing with a lot more freedom and they're enjoying that. And Newcastle obviously West Ham coming in on a bit more of a downward trajectory, but I fancy West Ham to go there and get a win. Norwich are a championship side. And if you told me, West Ham were away at, Huddersfield, Luton, Sheffield United, maybe even Forest, I would say, West Ham are favourites and they can go there and win.
Yeah. Finally then, Man City against Newcastle rounds us off with the 4:30 kickoff on Sunday. 1.2 for City, 8.0 for the draw, 17.0 for Newcastle. Obviously, mentally, Man City have got to get over the defeat at Real Madrid in the Champions League. It would be a surprise, considering this game is at home, if they didn't get a victory against Newcastle. Be very interesting to see their bounce back ability. Obviously, the Premier League's the last thing they can win now this season. So I'd expect them to win, but I don't think I'll be touching it at 1.2, to be honest.
No, too short, but I do expect them to win.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right then, that wraps up the Prem. Let's take a moment to talk about our sponsors at Matchbook and how you can take advantage of that sign-up offer one more time very quickly, and then we'll dive into the Championship and League Two.
Yeah, TFB Podcast is the promo code you're going to need to get that sign-up offer. There's a few terms and conditions, but make sure that you give it a go. Matchbook have been great partners all season, fantastic product. Thoroughly recommend that you check it out. So just one more time, TFB Podcast to get up to a £30 back as a free bet if your first bet loses.
Yeah, do check that out. Right then, Tom, Championship. Get us kicked off. Final day.
Yeah,
Playoffs to play for, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Not too much excitement, really, in terms of relegation and automatic promotion. Unfortunately for us Forest fans, but we will be in the playoffs, which is exciting. I'm having a look at this Bournemouth-Millwall game. Now, Millwall are kind of, they're the outsiders here in terms of the playoff picture, but they can mathematically do it. They really can. They need a few things to go their way, for sure, but they can do it. I'm having a look at Millwall double chance. I think they can go there and get a result. The price is 1.85 for that. I am conscious that the draw does nothing for them, so I am also inclined to go for them on the nose. And Millwall on the nose is a juicy 3.8. I mean, you can, I'm a Forest fan. You can say this is sour grapes, whatever you want, but I encourage you to go back and listen to pods when we've said all season that Bournemouth have got to be one of the most unconvincing automatic promoted sides in a long time. They've very rarely put together a great run of form. It was the incredible start that propelled them into this position, and since then they've been around the playoff side. Their points per game has them around the 5th and 4th mark, and Millwall have done well. They've given themselves a bit too much to bite off, I think, but they're the kind of team that's going to go for it. And who knows with Bournemouth what kind of mindset they'll be in. They can't win the league. They're promoted, no issues. So yeah, half an eye on Millwall at 3.8. More of an eye on that double chance.
Yeah, I think it's worth a punt, isn't it? The price, like you say, considering that Millwall have got everything to gain from this game, and Bournemouth probably have been on the beers, having secured promotion in midweek against Forest. So you'd be hoping from a Millwall perspective, they're not quite on it after they've achieved what they need to achieve.
Yeah.
For me, Luton at home to Reading. I'm hoping Luton are one of the more stronger picks in the Championship this week and should win this one fairly comfortably. I hope I could see a steady 2-0 to Luton here. 1.52 is the price for them to win. Ideally, they need a win to secure their playoff place. And I think if you were to pick teams from the league to play, I think Reading would be in your top 5.
100%.
At home to Reading on the final day, if you need a win to guarantee a playoff place. They've won 7 of the last 10 games at home, drawn 2 and lost 1, just losing to QPR. And we've seen them beat some decent teams at home, like Forest, like Preston, tough team. They've beaten Bournemouth as well at home in 2022. So it's a tough place to go, as we know. And I expect them to get the job done against a Reading side who have secured survival. They've won just 1 away game in their last 6 anyway, so not particularly strong travellers. And yeah, I can fully understand why Luton are as short as they are.
Yeah, for sure. Great opponent for Luton. All the pressure on them. The only thing I'm thinking of is a different narrative than what Nathan Jones likes to drive. He likes to drive the us against the world. We're the small fish in the big pond. We got the small budget. No one expects anything. We're doing our best. And when roles are reversed, I feel like that's a big challenge for them. So yeah, interesting to see what happens. Tom, potentially price of the weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tom, if I told you can back a team that's won the league, they've won 7 something. They've scored 7 on 3 occasions. They've scored 6 on 2 occasions. They've scored 5 on 3 occasions and 4 on 4 occasions. And you can back them at 3.85. Would you be interested?
I would, but yeah, it's a massive price, isn't it, for Fulham? But
It's huge. Like,
look,
it is like abnormally huge. I think it's all on narrative because
it is.
Sheffield United, yeah, Fulham won the league on the booze, whatever you want to say. Sheffield United got to lock up that playoff spot. You know, they need something from this game. But like, just look at the two sides. Like Sheffield United, these are their last 6 results. A win over QPR, and we mentioned that QPR are kind of on a big tailspin. Season's gone, kind of non-event. Beat Cardiff 1-0, unconvincingly. Drew to Bristol City, just mid-table. Lost to Reading at home. Drew with Bournemouth, and then beat QPR again. Like, it's not exactly leaping off the page. The caveat I will say is that Fulham have been pretty rotten away from home. The last kind of 5-6, it not been good at all. But I can't not read it out. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
we've got
absolutely.
one, and we've got the greatest ever Championship striker on 40 bloody whatever goals it is. 3.85 they are. All you need is Sheffield United, to get the willies and not turn up, and Fulham will capitalise. And then you're walking away with a 3.85 winner. It's massive.
It is. It is. And like you say, it's completely on narrative. If this wasn't the last game of the
100%.
season and Sheffield United didn't need to win to secure a playoff spot, they'd be nowhere near the
Absolutely
prices that
nowhere near. I have to read it out. I do.
Okay, next one for me then, talking about the playoff picture. I think Middlesbrough should get the job done away at Preston at 1.7. It's a little bit shorter than I'd like it to be honest. I'd like to see Middlesbrough a little bit more towards the evens mark. But again, it's all on narrative, I think. Preston, not particularly the easiest place to go in the league, but they're very kind of hit and miss form-wise at the moment. And Middlesbrough do need to win to give themselves a proper opportunity of getting into the playoffs and hope their rivals slip up. We've seen them win the last couple of games, so they're starting to recover a little bit of form that they lost kind of over the last couple of months during, what was it, like March time, in really dodgy form. So I think they should get the job done, but because of the narrative and the need for them to win, the price is shorter than I would have liked.
Yeah, just something we got to live with in it on the last day of the season. I think, a lot of a lot of prices that are driven, as you said, by the story and what people need and their deemed desire to win. We
Yeah, and
don't
I think
know.
you can pick up some good prices if you can call. Because what are the chances that Luton win, Middlesbrough win, and Sheffield United all win? Because they all really
Mm,
need to win to give themselves a chance. And Millwall,
yeah,
of course, Millwall are a bigger price so anyway. But you know, you're looking at a minimum of 4.0 for even a draw for the opposing teams. So you think surely someone's going to get the heebie-jeebies, aren't
yeah,
they?
yeah. Someone's going to drop out, sure, or not turn up for sure. I'm with you, mate.
Yeah.
Swansea. Let's talk about them and QPR. They play each other in a pretty much meaningless game. I don't have a price at the moment. Matchbook still building this market out. But Swansea to win and both teams to score is my tip. So Swansea, they've only won 1 in their last 6. But I tell you what, there's been some absolute ding-dong affairs. 2-1, 1-1, 4-4, 1-1, 3-3, 5-1. Some wins, some draws, and a loss. And they've been a lot of fun. Michael Obafemi and Perot up front look fantastic. Obafemi in particular, as I said last week, is on my short list for Championship top scorer next season. I'm going to be checking out his price. They're playing against a QPR team who have won 1 of their last 6. Tom, that was a game when you said, sorry, that was a game. Can you edit that out? Sorry. That was a game when they needed to beat Derby to pretty much cement Derby's relegation. And I think, the playoffs were a distant dream, maybe. I think it wasn't mathematically done. So, yeah, pretty much apart from beating Derby, who are obviously going down, they haven't been good. And I can see Swansea having some end of season fun in the sun.
Yeah, I had a similar tip. I was going to go for just generally over 3.5 goals at 2.48.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be like you say, Swansea, wherever they go at the moment, entertainment seems to follow, whether it's in the opposition net, their own net. Yeah, goals all over the place. So I think it's going to be a similar story here. Swansea probably getting most of them. But maybe QPR are going to want to give Brett a good send-off in his last game. They're going to go out. He's going to say, go out, try and score some goals. What will be, will be.
Yeah.
Let's make it a fun one for the fans or whatever, memorable one. Yeah, I think it's going to be an entertaining game.
Yeah.
Any more in the champ for you? Because I'm pretty much done here.
No, feels really weird, but down to League Two.
Yeah, down to League Two. Obviously, the final automatic promotion spot is still to be decided. Northampton currently occupy it, but a few teams can make it if they win and results go their way. I think we've got here the shortest price team that I think I've seen for a long time in League Two, which is Bristol Rovers. They're 1.15 to win at home to Scunthorpe. So obviously, I think Bristol Rovers will win. We've got an extension to that, but yeah, Bristol Rovers need to win. Just getting the table up now as we record. Bristol Rovers currently sitting 4th. They're level on points with Northampton. They've got a goal difference which is worse by 5 goals. So Bristol Rovers need to better Northampton's results, who are playing away at Barrow. And if they don't better their result in terms of Northampton win and Bristol Rovers win, Bristol Rovers have to win by a bit of a landslide to overturn the goal difference deficit. So I think Bristol Rovers will win. I'm going to go for the half-time, full-time market because Bristol Rovers is going to go out and try and score as many past Scunthorpe as they possibly can, I think. It could be a bit of a landslide anyway, without the need for it to be a landslide. 1.5 is the price for half-time, full-time, Bristol Rovers.
Nice. I have an extension on that, and it's Scunthorpe to win. No, I'm kidding. Of course it isn't. It's Bristol Rovers minus 2.5. That's 2.3, so just a shade over evens. I wanted to maybe look at minus 3.5 as well. Matchbook just building out that market as we record. But yeah, you've just read out all the Bristol Rovers stuff, so I'm not going to repeat that. On the Scunthorpe side, they've basically moved on 90% of the senior pros just to one side and said, you're not in our plans next year, you're going to leave. There's no point playing you for the last couple of games. And I'm sure the players who are probably after moves away are happy with that. So there were 9 players who were no older than 20 playing in Scunthorpe's last game. So they are essentially playing a youth team, Bristol Rovers as well. So something to just to add to that tip. Let's talk about Mansfield. I'm back in Mansfield, Tom. They are in one of those positions where they've got something to play for. They're a point off Northampton. So obviously they can seal that automatic promotion position if a few things go their way. They are playing against Forest Green, who are basically chasing the title for the first time since, I think, the 3rd or 4th game of the season. They are not top. It is absolutely incredible that they're not top at the moment. But that's the reality. They went from being talked about as one of the best League Two teams in history by opposition managers, not even us, opposition managers, to now being, second position and, maybe ruining their legacy a little bit of how good they could have been. We're looking at a
Hmm.
Forest Green team here. In their last 8 games, they've got less points than Crawley, Colchester, Swindon, Mansfield, Salford, Northampton, Port Vale, Sutton, Leyton Orient, Bristol Rovers, and Exeter City. Like, they are essentially a mid-table team over the last 8 games, and I'm going to treat them like one because Mansfield at home have been absolutely incredible. They've got the joint second best record in the league at home. It's an absolute fortress, and they've got something on the line. Forest Green, just not the same at the moment, unfortunately for them. I'm backing Mansfield at 2.06 to get the job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely agree with that. I had that one myself. Next one for me, I'm going to give Sutton another chance,
Oh, God.
begrudgingly. Oh,
My
crikey. Here we
head's
go.
gone.
Here we go. So, last week, Sutton cost us the treble to let us down for, I think it was about, what was it, an 8.2 was the treble price, something like that?
Yeah, something like
I
that.
made that up? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so they let us down anyway. Cost a treble. I'm going to give them another shot. They need to win this game. They're away at Harrogate. Harrogate got nothing to play for. Uh, Generally pretty inconsistent in terms of their form. Sutton, yeah, just they had a first bite of the cherry last weekend at home to Bradford. Really messed it up, losing 4-1. They got a second chance, and they really need to take this one. And again, needs must against a team who you would be up there in one of the teams you pick to play, I think. Probably in your top 5 or 6. So, yeah, I think Sutton, I'm backing to get the job done.
I
Don't let me
told you,
down again.
she's no good for you, but you keep running back. I told you. No, I'm with
One
you,
of them,
mate.
innit? One of them. It's going
Yeah,
to let us down again, aren't they?
I'm with you. Like, they've got to win. Harrogate nowhere near as dangerous as Bradford can be. Despite there's only being 4 positions between them. Yeah, I'm with you, but I am scarred. I think it's fair to say. Um, wacky scenario in League Two. Tom, did you know that Swindon, who occupies 7th, could could technically get automatic promotion? There would
I was
have to
going to
be
say, yeah.
a hell of a lot of stuff to go their way. They'd need the 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd to not win, and Swindon would have to win by 1-0. As long as they win 1-0, they would make automatic promotion. Probably they're looking over their shoulder a bit more at Sutton and Tranmere, who are looking at that last spot in terms of the playoffs. But they're playing against a Walsall team who just feel ready for the summer, really. Mike Flynn came in, didn't he? And he had a good kind of first impression. I certainly remember that win away at Forest Green. But yeah, they feel like they're just ready for the summer. Win one, lose one, lost one, etc. And yes, Swindon coming in off the back of this, 4 wins in their last 5, 3 in a row. That includes wins against Barrow, Forest Green, and away at Hartlepool, which has been a traditionally tough place to go this season. I'm back in Swindon to get the job done. They are priced at 1.85. I think it's a good price, that. As we said, Tom, somebody in this top 9 has to lose. Not everyone is going to win. Hopefully, Swindon aren't the ones to let us down, but we'll see. 1.85.
Do you know what? I completely take what you say. I don't want to poo-poo that. I think Swindon might falter here.
Oh, bloody hell, really, yeah?
Yeah, yeah,
Against
yeah. I
Walsall?
think Walsall's home record is good. It is good. It's underappreciated good. They've won 6 of their 7 at home.
Yeah,
Um,
sure. I know
I think
I know
they've
they are
beaten Port
handy.
Vale. They've beaten Sutton, Port Vale, Tranmere. That's in that run. So they've beaten some handy teams
And
at
we're
home.
okay and we're okay ignoring the fact they've lost to Crawley, Rochdale, and drew with Colchester. Right? We're good with that.
Yeah, that's away.
It's still results though. It's still results.
I think this is a tricky one. This is a tricky one for
Ooh.
Swindon.
Okay, I think they get the job done. And they seal automatic promotion. No, I'm kidding.
Imagine,
It would be amazing, though.
you could have a fantastic acca, couldn't you? If
Yeah.
everything to happen in order for Swindon to get promoted,
I tell you
that
what,
acca
if I was a
that would
Swindon
pay.
fan, I would have that on. I think if I was a Swindon
Yeah,
fan, just a
yeah,
couple of quid, £2 on it, whatever.
yeah. Brilliant. Anything else for you that you want to cover?
No, no. Time to very briefly, talk about the playoffs and what we're going to be doing. So, yeah, really exciting time in the EFL. Best part of the season, unless you're involved in it like me and Tom, and it feels very different now. Me and Tom were talking. The playoffs are at an awkward time for someone who do a weekly podcast. So what we're going to do, we're going to be doing a game by game tip, courtesy of Matchbook, taking a price from there, and we're going to be putting it out on Twitter exclusively. T_FB podcast. You will also be getting in the next couple of days, and we'll try to do it as soon as we can because I know they've just started. We're going to try and pick out who we think is going to win each division's playoffs as well. And we'll get you those prices, some Matchbook and a little blurb about why that's going to happen. So it's just kind of hard to do the playoffs justice on the pod. So please head over to Twitter, T_FB podcast. And let's also, Tom, revisit last week's treble in a little bit more detail. As we mentioned, Sutton were the ones to let us down, which was very disappointing because it was in like time order. And we had Wickham and Bolton up with score wins. And it was all resting on Sutton. The biggest game, arguably, in their history, maybe. And they buggered it. 4-1 as well. They got absolutely battered.
Wasn't even close, was it?
No.
It wasn't even close.
Very disappointing. Lots of people tweeting us saying, right, job, leg 1 and 2 are in, on to Sutton, let's go. And then, yeah, they failed to make it happen for us. But new week, new opportunity.
Yep, absolutely. So once again, this treble is pre-made on the Matchbook website, and it is industry best priced. It's 4.1, the treble we've got this weekend, and it is Crystal Palace to beat Watford at home in the Premier League, Luton to beat Reading at home in the Championship, and Bristol Rovers to be winning at half-time and full-time at home in their game against Scunthorpe in League 2. 4.1 is the price, industry best. For example, Bet365, the same treble is 3.9, Skybet's 3.2, BetVictor 3.66, Betfair 2.38. That doesn't look quite right, but yeah, either way, Matchbook is the industry best price. If something beats Matchbook, they'll reboost it so it does beat whatever beats it.
Yeah, and if you're a bit nervous about trying to find the Bristol Rovers half-time, full-time market, maybe that's not something you've dabbled in before, no fear. Matchbook have pre-built the treble, and it's just a one click. So you just need to head to the website and type in their search bar, podcast, and it'll come up TFB, podcast treble. So then you head on down, and it's all there, already pre-built. You just click on, and then you can back whatever stake you want to back. So, yeah, nice and easy. Matchbook make it a very smooth experience.
Yep, they do. Let's have a quick look at fantasy football, shall we? Run through the top 10 before we finish. So we've got, about 4 games or so left in this. It's not going particularly well again for me, but the top 10 in 10 to first order, Alpha M9K, Charlie Donnelly, Tom Arnold, David Brown, Chris Hindle, Nathan Brunskill, Vincent Rayner, Chantal Cruikshanks, Oliver Hogburn, and still top of the table is Kaspars Grava. It's going to be very tight this year because Kaspars is top by just 9 points. So, yeah, extremely tight and competitive at the top.
Yeah, and if you've got a fancy football team and you want to join probably for next season, if you want to get it over and done with now, you'll automatically be in our league next year. Just tweet us for the league code TFB, T_. Sorry, don't forget that underscore. T_FB podcast. And again, just to reiterate, that's where you'll be able to keep up with playoff tips.
Yeah, join in the fun on socials. Tom does a great job of putting out lots of good content there. And yeah, if you have enjoyed the show, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave us a rating or review wherever you listen to your podcasts, or just tell a mate about it. That'd be good as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.
Yeah, cheers guys. Bye-bye.